Welcome, everybody, to Well, That's Horrific, a podcast about anything and everything horror. My name is Mr. S,
And I'm Tom Cruise.
and we appreciate you taking the time to listen to our podcast wherever you may be. This week, we have some review for Meg 2, The Trench. It was released on August 4th. The first Meg, I did enjoy it. When was it released? It was released 2018, August 10th, the first Meg. Worldwide made $530 million, domestically 145. Meg 2, it has been a week now. And it's not even a week, actually, and it's got $148 million worldwide, 33 million domestically. We're going to go ahead and talk about it, review it. So spoiler warning, of course. Tommy, the floor is yours.
So the Meg 2, as you mentioned, you said you mentioned you enjoyed the first Meg. I was a big fan of the first Meg 2 for what it is. It's a popcorn movie. It's a great summer movie. Definitely looking forward to watching this with friends and family. It's the sort of movie where you definitely want to just take everybody, creatures, sharks, and what better than sharks than bigger sharks, right? You can't be a great white unless you got a fucking megalodon. And that's what this is, right? This is the Meg 1 with some more craziness added to it. Jason Statham. If you love Jason Statham, I'm a big Jason Statham fan from way back, the Transporter days to Crank.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge Jason Statham fan. It's kind of crazy because you just mentioned it a little bit. When I saw the trailer to this movie, I saw it once, and I'm like, okay, like all bets are off. Like you can't believe anything you're seeing in this film. Like they went and just kind of Fast and Furious this thing.
Exactly.
And that's something just.
I was going to mention that for sure. Yeah. They definitely went the Fast and the Furious route to a certain degree for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, why not? Why not? But it is definitely. I think it kind of works here too because it is a, like you mentioned, a shark movie, and we grew up watching Jaws and Deep Blue Sea and all that jazz. So of course, throwing a big, a megalodon and Jason Statham, and you got yourself a movie, right? But I want to know your thoughts. I want to know how you feel. I feel like my feelings towards this movie. First of all, I saw it in 3D, and it's been a while since I've seen a 3D film, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool watching it in 3D.
This might have been a cool movie to watch in 3D. Now, I did not watch it in 3D, but I did watch it in a drive-in movie theater. So I was between two cars and had music coming. I had my stereo coming from left car and right car, and I was sitting in a nice rocking chair between the two cars.
I like that.
Yeah, it's nice. So definitely an experience for me. But I feel like this is the type of movie that you can do that with, right? You can go to a drive-in movie theater. You can go even watch it in 3D. Like this is more of a popcorn movie. This is not necessarily This is not Talk to Me that we spoke about last week, where I would say you want to focus, dive in, and you want the atmosphere. This is a good movie that you can just invite your friends over and watch. I've seen the Meg 1 so many times because of that. I can definitely say I've seen the first Meg with my girlfriend's family, my family, my distant uncles, cousins. I've seen it multiple times because everybody kind of enjoys this sort of movie. You could kind of almost watch it in the background to a certain degree, but I feel like that's kind of what these movies are made for to a certain it's something that just anybody it's simple enough that anybody can understand, but it's also entertaining.
Exactly. I think you nailed it right there when you said it's entertaining. This movie is far from realistic, and that's the mindset. I've talked about this before. I've mentioned suspension of disbelief, but you have to with this movie in order for you to kind of like it. But again, that doesn't make it a great movie just because of that.
No,
so there's some things that for me at least, while watching this film, I feel like my feelings about it, changed. It was like a roller coaster. It was up and down, up and down. It was actually pretty crazy, and I do like though that Jason Statham had a lot more Jason Statham. He had a lot more fight scenes, especially with the whole intro. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. That's something that I think I expect to see in the first film. And yeah, man, I don't know. I guess we go right into it a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
the first thing I want to say about this movie is the first one was a little bit more straightforward. This second one, especially watching the trailers, really threw me off because there were a lot of things that I just weren't expecting. Like okay, I guess we'll get into spoiler territory here, but I did not expect that half of this movie was going to be a rescue mission, just based on the trailers,
yeah.
100%.
The thing is, like, based on the trailers, yes, exactly. The way they did that, the way they advertised it, made it seem about the Megs. I know the movie's called Meg to the Trench, so they obviously explore the trench, so, unknown territory, trying to figure out what's going on down there. I'm all for it. My thing is like, you have three Megs now in this film, three, and I feel like we got a little bit more action on the first one with the Meg. So I don't know how I felt about that. And also, you have this apparently,
So I
Go
have
ahead.
to agree with you. I think the first one had, again, spoilers for whoever who haven't seen the first one. So technically there are two Megs in the first movie, and this one has three. Actually, this one technically has four, but there was a lot more action. I would say focused on the Megs in the first one, 100%, because it was the whole thing of like it's out there in the ocean. A lot of this particular movie is, like I mentioned, a rescue mission. They're stuck in the trench and they're trying to escape. And then the second, maybe, I don't even want to say second half, it might be less than half the movie is, okay, we got to take care of these mechs. And then there's other creatures now. There's other,
Yeah.
it has a little bit of Jurassic World, Jurassic Park sort of
Yeah.
vibes with these little dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the first hour I enjoyed. I enjoyed the first hour. I thought it was, interesting. I thought they had a story going there. They did focus on the Meg a bit, like Hachi. Is that the name of
Yeah.
the Meg that they captured from the first film? Was there, and they're trying to experiment with it, and then it escapes, and they're going to the trench. Like, it was definitely suspenseful. It was suspenseful. I can't.
So just
take that
clarify
away.
something for me, because you said something. You said the Meg from the first film. How is that the Meg from the first film?
That's because there were two Megs. Remember the first film? I thought at the end they didn't actually kill the Meg.
Oh, I thought they killed it. That's why I was. A
It
bit
looked like they
confused.
killed it in the film, but from what that movie described, they didn't.
Okay, so they just captured it. Okay.
They captured it. I could be wrong, but that's what they said.
Okay, that could very well be the case, but I was a little bit confused because I was thinking, okay, is that maybe another Meg that they went down and got at a different point? Only because they had at one point they talk about how this is like their 20-something trip down there.
They've had multiple trips before down there, but never actually encountered a Meg until that first film.
Yeah,
You know what? Now you can.
But
Now you
I-
may be right, actually.
but from the first film to the second film, I believe. Let me not mess up the character's name. Give me 1 second here. There's a character who specifically mentions like, oh, this has been their 20-something if dive.
Is it the Asian dude, Jing
Yeah.
Bu?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know. The thing about this is that I'm confused now a little bit because, Tommy's saying one thing and I'm saying one thing. So if you've seen the film, feel free to help us out here. Do you think that Hachi actually was a Meg from the first film? If not, is it a
You may
Meg that
very
they
well be
encountered between 1 and 2? Yeah.
You may very well be right. I was, again,
Yeah.
I was watching this in a drive-in movie theater, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if I
problem,
might have
no
missed
problem.
that detail.
It's all right. It's not a problem. But speaking of that actor, though, Jing Woo, I got to say, man, he was really hard to watch. I'm not trying to discredit anybody, who acts in this film. I'm sure there's a very thorough audition process and, there's a casting director or not. But this character just was not it. I mean, every time he was on scene, I couldn't. And the voice
here's what I would-
revoicing, or I don't know. It's just,
Here's what I would say about that. A lot of it was similar in the first movie, and this movie caters a lot to the Asian market, so they have to get these sort of actors and stuff like that just to make sure that it pops over there. And I think that's what it was. I don't think it's anything. It's one of those things that you kind of have to like let go. If you focus on that, of course you're going to see things, but it's really more so for that market that they try to get specific actors and stuff.
yeah. No,
But yeah,
I had to make do with that.
I
but-
definitely understand what you mean. Like,
Yeah,
the,
it was a little bit.
just the
a little
voice,
bit- I
the
couldn't
voice
hear
alone.
it. The voiceover, like I felt off. I feel like it wasn't even matching his what you call it, his.
But it was so
his
obvious. It was
lips.
such a
It was obvious. It was taken away. And like, how many times is this dude going to escape death?
Oh, a million times.
Come
This
on.
guy has the ultimate plot armor. Yeah.
Like, come on. How many times is this guy going to escape death? And I called it. I predicted it. I didn't call it. I predicted it. I was like, hey, this guy is going to die. Some point in this film, he's going to die. And it never happened. It never freaking happened.
Nope.
I'm like, what the hell? This guy is better than Jason Statham himself. I don't know, man. It was crazy. But I don't know. Meg 2, trench scene. What do you think about the trench scene? What do you think about them going in and kind of, encountering another group there? Like, what? Everybody has the technology now to be down there? Like, come on.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, I guess it is the reveal that it's basically somebody in the company that kind of, betrayed them and all. So
Right.
it's really all one company in a way. But yeah, apparently now they're using the same technologies to get down there, and they were exploiting and mining whatever was worth billions down there.
Yep. Can you imagine billions for one of
Listen,
those?
I found that part very interesting only because, for me, again, somebody who saw the trailers, I did not expect half this movie to be that. And,
No.
it threw me off, but in a good way, sort of thing, because a lot of the things you do see in the trailer are the Fast and the Furious elements of, like, oh my God, you see Jason Statham running at a mag with what only appears to be like a blade or something.
Yeah.
And you see him in a jet ski. You see him kicking a shark, holding the shark's mouth open. Like, it's a lot of the unrealistic elements is what you see in the trailer.
Yeah.
So happy that there were parts of this that were more grounded, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, the title of this film is called Meg to the Trench, so they want to explore the trench, and I understand it, and it was like a good amount of time was there, and I get it. I think it kind of gives you more insights into what they're working towards. There's nothing wrong with that. I like the story. It's just, I think it takes away from the Megs itself, because that whole intro sequence to this film is about the Meg, eating like a dinosaur or something, and it's like, then they introduce that Meg. They see that Meg down there, and it's like the biggest Meg they've seen, and the one that's the oldest of millions of years ago, and stuff like that. It's like we barely see that Meg, and then at the end of it, the way it dies, like, come on, like I think.
Listen, the way all the Megs died, to be honest, because even the other ones were just like boop boop. That's it.
Yeah, with that little, what you
Like,
call a little bomb blade thing that he made.
You give them the benefit of the doubt solely because apparently, they've done this before. It's not the first time. They've dealt with them several times, and since they learned from the first movie.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, but I don't know. I really don't know. For me, it has to be a little bit more different. I did like the chase scenes that they had at their, I guess, base. I thought that was pretty cool how they were all working together. It's just, I don't know. It had to be a little bit more. I hate to say this word, realistic, because I know that it's not supposed to be, but it was entertaining. Yeah. From beginning to end. It was definitely entertaining. Jason Statham did his thing. I felt like they recycled a couple of things, like the beach scenes.
Little dog.
The little dog. The little dog again.
Is
too.
that
Like,
the same little dog?
Yeah, it had to be the same little dog, and like nothing happens with that, and then.
I mean, they're never gonna kill the little dog, but you know what I mean. Like, they've recycled the
kill
whole.
It. Why not?
Story.
Freaking kill it.
Nah, bro.
And then,
I thought I was the dark one. Jeez.
I'm not trying to be dark, but you can't give fans the same thing and then not have a different outcome. You can't have two different. I mean, two of the same exact things. That's exactly what we saw. Two of the same exact things.
I will say from all the characters. So we have Jason Statham, but I do think Jess, Skylar Samuel's character, she did play a good villain for what she lasted.
Yeah. Her death was funny.
Her death, I feel like it shouldn't have been spoiled in the trailers. Because
I know, man. I know that should have not been spoiled in the trailer.
I was hoping that her death in the trailer was like a fake out. You know how those clips in trailers that don't actually come into the movie.
Yep.
So I was hoping that was gonna happen, and then it was never gonna be in the movie. But no, they just killed her like that. And I feel like she was such a good, like, evil or bad character. Like, she played such a bad character. I wanted a better outcome for her. Like, I wanted to see, Jason Statham and everybody confront her, but then just to have her kind of die, even with the other character, the the person who was behind it all.
I forgot her name. I'll
Driscoll,
tell
is
you.
that Driscoll?
No, her name was Driscoll. It was Driscoll. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Driscoll.
So
Yeah.
she was behind it all, and I mean, she had maybe like a couple seconds. I mean, she did a lot of dub things, but she had a couple seconds before the little dinosaurs dragged her away, and I thought that was funny. But I don't know. I just sometimes not to bring it over to a little bit more of a horror centric thing, but one of my biggest gripes with Halloween 2018 was that we never got the confrontation of Dr. Sartain. Michael just killed him after he did whatever he did. So he got Laurie and Michael to confront each other, and then he just ignored, like he disappeared after that. And that's one of my biggest gripes. And I feel like I don't like when they set something up for a character to do something evil, and then there's no direct outcome for them, or there's no confrontation.
Yeah.
And I guess in this movie they still get the outcome, like they still die, right? But like they never got to meet up with the protagonist of the movie and hash it out or whatever it may be.
That's true. That's
true.
true.
This movie ended up being more so Jason Statham characters with the other guy who apparently had convicted him. He said he had convicted him
that guy with curly hair. I forgot what his name was. I'll take a look at it right now. Thought his name was here. I can't see his name. Oh, Montez. Montez. So yeah, that's his name. You're right. I think you make a great comparison. I think Dr. Sartain's character, I've always said this in 2018, was not. There was no reason for him to be there. I don't know why they did that to him. I get it, like that whole homeless aspect, but whatever. That's a different conversation for a different day. But yeah, in this case, she doesn't meet with anybody. She doesn't meet with Jonas. She doesn't meet with this guy Juming, and not even the character Mei Ying. So like, it's like, what was the point? And then she gets absolutely mauled by one of those little dinosaur things, which is cool. I think the dinosaurs were cool, but yeah, man, this when I'm watching this film, it's just like, what can they do to entertain me? That's what I'm looking at. I'm not even.
But I think that's why they try to add new elements like these little dinosaurs and, and the trench stuff. But I feel like they just failed in some of the basic things of like you mentioned. It shouldn't have had more. The first one shouldn't have been more shark related and had more shark scenes than this one. With this one being supposedly upping the ante to 3 megs instead of 1. It felt like they left a lot on the table because of that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Thing is too, that whole squid or octopus, whatever you want to call that thing, it's just like, it's so mysterious, and then like we really don't see much of it. Like that cool little fight with the Meg that lasts like a minute or so. I'm like, all right, but we still never really saw much of it.
That's where all the budget of this movie went, by the way. This movie cost like $100 million to make. I guarantee you the scene of the big octopus and the shark fighting was like $30 million easy right there.
I don't doubt it. I absolutely don't doubt it. Probably one of the hands.
I knew it was going to happen because I was like, there's no way they're going to have a giant octopus and a giant shark and they're not going to fight.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. There are elements in this movie that, make you enjoy it, that they kind of hook you in. And there's some things that just like, they remind you, it's like, yo, weird. Like, it's not to be taken serious. A lot of flaws come with that.
It is what it is. I will say that I think I did like the first one a little bit more.
Yeah, I did too. I'm telling you, the first hour of this film, though, I'm not going to lie. I was like, all right, this is already better. I've said this. This is the first hour of the film. And then I saw the direction. And then I saw the direction that it was headed toward. I'm like, you know what? I take that back. I retract my statement because I don't know what's happening right now. I need more Megs. I need more seriousness. And I also thought the tone of the first movie was a little bit more, slower. Not slower in the sense that it's not packed, but more like serious. It's like this one is a little bit more. This happens and that happens. I know like sequels are always supposed to be, a little bit more chaotic, but yeah, this wasn't it.
Yeah, it was a little bit all over the place. I think they dropped the ball with Jess's character, to be honest. How did you feel about Paige Kennedy, DJ?
Yo, they completely 180 to this guy.
Yeah,
like this guy became
being the biggest wimp to now he's a fucking badass.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you too actually about his character. Yeah, well that's the thing. Like he even mentions it himself that he kind of took some classes or whatever it was. He was training for this moment after the first time, and like It's pretty badass. I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna lie. He's funny too. Like he has his moments where it's funny and like, but yeah, complete 180 from his character in the first film. And yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it at all. I really think what bothered me was that that Mei Ying's uncle, like he just kept escaping death, and like that's not realistic.
Oh no, and
at all.
apparently he's a badass too. I mean, he was fighting, he was doing all this crazy
but
stuff.
it's like,
bro, the
I
scene
didn't like
with the gas and the dinosaurs, he falls out the helicopter and then comes back.
Yeah,
it was too much.
like
it was too
there
much.
were so many incidents. Like, okay, I can count them. Ready? where he's alone with a Meg when he's clicking that first scene.
Yeah. That
And
one
then
was
there's
expected. We knew he was going to survive that one.
Yeah.
I'll take one. I'll take one.
But the thing is, I kind of thought that was foreshadowing something, but no. Then he has that scene at the end where he's gonna make it with the Meg. You know, the Meg is coming at him, and then Jonas saves him.
Yeah.
That's two. Then again, when they're trying to escape, when like they want to close the pod on him, you know, he's trying to run to turn it up or whatever. But he comes, he's like, "Oh, are you gonna shut the door on me?" That's three.
Yep.
Then again, where was it again? The helicopter, like you just mentioned before. The scene where he's in the garage, five. And then again at the end with the thing, like I'm actually really thinking the Mega's gonna, like, I actually thought,
which one?
Gonna eat him up.
The last one,
the last scene, last scene, when the guy's like, "Oh, he's going out." When Jonas was like, it's going after the dolphins. He's like, "No, it obeyed my command." I really thought like he was gonna be, because in my head I'm like, "There's no way this guy is surviving all of this." There's no way.
It would have been funny though. It would have been funny. He made it all the way to the end just to have his own man kill him.
I get it though. They don't want Mei Ying's mom and uncle to die, but like, come on, bro. Like,
didn't her grandfather die too?
Her grandfather died as well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The first film. I don't know. It is what it is. What do you think about the ending, though? I mean, that Meg was free, so that you think there's something else going on there? You think there's another?
I don't know, but
movie?
that was my opinion on the first. So while I was watching the first half of this movie, like I liked the elements in the trench. However, my whole thing after the explosion was like, okay, the Megs escaped, because they mentioned it early on. I was like, okay, there's a change in temperature. There was something that burst through the trench. Blah blah blah. I was like, okay, then the Megs, could have left, but I guess one thing that I found weird was, one, they were focusing more on them being in a trench than I forgot the name of the first shark, but then the first shark that had escaped. Because remember the Hachi? Yeah, so they had discovered on the way down that Hachi had escaped. Mm-hmm. But they just let him out. They just let him free. Like they don't even focus on Hachi.
Yeah.
And then they go down to the trench, and this is before they're stuck. And they see the other Megs, and again, their focus is still the Megs, and not Hachi, who's free. Meanwhile, the Megs are stuck those three Megs are stuck down there. But then, when finally the explosion happens, the Megs for some reason stay down there, even though they're camouflaged, so they can't see them. And now the explosion already should allow them to escape the breach.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where obviously it's happening. It's only happening this way because of the movie. Because in the first movie, they mentioned that the moment their pod left and there was any sort of gap in the trench, the shark followed them. But in this case, that gap was open for such a long time.
But yeah, well, that was open. So Hachi following them, I guess they paid no mind to her, because they were under the impression that once they go under the thermalite, whatever you call it, that it was too cold, obviously, that Hachi won't be able to follow through. 100%. But then they said that she must have followed your heat or something and made its way. Obviously, some bogus stuff, but it must have followed your heat. But then the explosion that took place, I remember them saying it's going to be like that for an hour.
Yeah.
So that's when the Megs probably went through as well.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is they had all this time. And Hachi, what I was more concerned with Hachi is like, okay, Hachi's out in the ocean. I wasn't even concerned that it was following them. I meant more so like, oh, why are they not focusing that they just let
abort the mission? Abort the mission.
There's a Meg in the ocean.
Yeah.
Forget about like the fact that it's following you. It's like if it wants to just go wreak havoc on people, it can.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. You make a great point. But again, it's that movie. It's this movie. It kind of does it to you. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you this. You got to believe it. Like, don't question it. So it's like,
I love how you said it. Like, yo, this is happening. Don't
Yeah,
ask me
like
why.
this is it.
This
I can imagine the room where they all wrote this, and one guy's questioning it. He's like, "Shut up, don't change it. Just take it as it is." Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I'm that one guy. Like, wait, but.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, nah, shut up, bro, shut up.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Well, yeah, man. That's really like all that I have to say for Meg 2. I don't really think I'm gonna have a deep conversation about this. We know what kind of movie it is. What do you rate this thing? What do you rate it?
I give it a 6. I'm gonna say 6? It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I could be a harder critic, but I'm gonna give it a 6, and just say it was okay. Okay.
I'm gonna give it a I want to give it a 6 too, but I'm gonna be different now. I'm gonna say 5.5. Entertainment is like pretty great. I would give it like an 8 or so, and like because I watched it in 3D as well. But yeah, 5.5. That's my rating. To our viewers, if you've seen Meg 2, please let us know what your rating is for this film and how you feel about it, and obviously know how we feel about it, and that's that.
That's that.
In other horror news, Tommy, what do you have for us?
Okay, I guess let's start right off the bat, right? What did we talk about last week?
We talked about Talk to Me.
And A24 has officially ordered a sequel.
Yes.
Surprised? No. They clearly listened to us and were like, we got to make it. We got to do it. They said it. Mr. S said it. Tom Cruise said it. We got to make another one.
Yeah, so Talk to Me sequel already in the works by A24. It's been announced. They're bringing back the original.
Hear me out. Talk to Me.
Hey, that's fine. Did you see? I'm gonna post it. When I put this video up, but they posted a picture of Talk and then like the 2. I think it was like.
Oh, so you're telling me this is not my idea? I didn't just make this up right now.
Like no, it's not your idea. So it's like a 2 like this.
They already got to it. Before
yeah, they already got to it. But yeah, they have Danny and Michael Filippo. They're already having them work on it. This is my theory. I think they already had a Talk to Me 2 planned or written out or script somewhere because obviously they wrote this first film, so I'm sure they probably had it in mind about how this story can continue. If they are continuing from the original story, or maybe it's the same type of movie.
I don't think that they could continue off the original story. I would argue, right? At least from my point of view, right? You get these 2 creators who made this great movie, and it's a great movie. We both agreed.
Yeah.
Why make them make a sequel and just not tell them, hey, let's make another horror movie?
But
like, why does it have to be a sequel to the same movie? You know what I mean? Like, this movie was great. Don't get me wrong, but I think the book was closed. Now you gotta kind of open the book again and figure out how you make a sequel.
That's a good point.
And again, it could still very well be about the hand, and I guess it could get into the lore of the hand and stuff like that. But in my opinion, usually when these sort of things happen and they try to get into they try to make a sequel of a movie that I guess wasn't open ended in any way. I didn't see anything open ended, but
I would like it if this film this Talk to Me sequel is not a direct sequel. I would love it if it's a different group of people, a different place in the world, whatever the case may be, experiencing the same thing that the first group of friends, been through, but it takes place after what they've been through. So maybe there's like a different story there. I feel like that gives you a little bit more ammo to work around things. But other than that, I agree with you. I don't want a direct sequel like that. Like, same characters or this and like as for a whole new movie, yeah, I mean that's a great point. Like, why not make a different movie? Why not?
They invented this, right? They did.
Yeah,
this on
exactly.
Their own, right?
Like,
what makes
there's so many possibilities for you.
Yeah. Well, what makes you think they won't come up with another movie that they could just secretly do?
Yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't really give me much more about what's happening. Well, we just know that it's in the works. But
I did hear that apparently they had like a prequel in the works or something that they already wanted to do, but I don't know if that's what this is.
This is what I'm reading here. Before the Pic's opening, Danny Filippo told Deadline that given his redrafts, he couldn't help but start writing other scenes of different people experiencing their hands, continuing on these character stories. So there's scenes for a sequel. Yeah. Okay. I promise you, this is the first time I'm reading that. I did not read that before.
Yeah.
So technically, it's what I'm saying. But like, I guess their way or their version, I have no idea. But I feel like that's the only way you can do it, though. I don't think you can do it any other way.
Yeah, but I guess, do you ever get into the lore of the hand or no?
I mean, we know that it came from like a psychic or something, had his hand chopped off. That's all that
What
we
I'm
know.
saying is, if it's a movie and it's just, what made this movie unique was also that the timing and everything that it had to do with the characters, right? Her mom had committed suicide and everything was going through her. Now, everything she was going through. Now, with this movie, like, we don't know about the new characters and anything, but is it just going to be the same thing where like they're just kids that play with a hand and then one of them? I feel like it has to be something like different, right?
The thing is,
That's
I
what I'm saying.
really
Do you
don't
try
like prequels.
No, I'm not saying it has to be a prequel. It could still be.
But...
It could hear me out. It could still be a sequel, but they can still try to figure out what the origin of the hand is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think of it as Smile, where like they were trying to. Oh, what's a Smile? Yeah, they were trying to figure out what the origin of the whole thing was. Think of it that way, but like whoever is the person that is going through something, tries to figure it out. I don't know. I'm just trying to see like what would be the next thing that wouldn't be just a repetitive thing of just like the same things. But I guess they'll know. I mean, they did a good job with this movie. I have all the faith they'll figure it out. I'm just wondering if what is going to be different about this.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm inquisitive myself. I have a lot of questions.
Oh, there you
here.
go. So I found the official article from Bloody Disgusting. Talk to Me filmmakers already shot an entire prequel based on the film's opening sequence.
No.
So Diane Philippi explains the outlet. We actually shot an entire decade prequel already. It's told entirely through the perspective of mobile phones and social media. So maybe down the line we can release that. However, so that's where it ends.
Different take.
So yeah. So however, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the sequel. This could be something that comes out before the next movie. You know what I mean? It could be one of those things where like it's just like a mini movie or something.
True. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, listen. Not that I'm as a critic. I mean, as somebody who likes to watch films, like I'm gonna watch anything anyway. It's just I feel like prequels are so tryhards that they really get away from what the franchise is about or whatever the case is. So I don't know. If they shot a film, I highly doubt it's going to be released before another movie. I think they're going to try to incorporate that into a sequel. So maybe they make the movie like a two-parter. I have no idea.
No, I mean, but this doesn't sound like it's a huge thing. But it depends on how long it is, right?
Yeah.
But considering this was shot before they even got confirmed for a sequel, I wouldn't be surprised if they just released this like as a sort of tease thing, depending on the length. But I also see I see what you said. Which is, again, this is one of the brothers talking where he says, but also while writing the first film, you can't help but write scenes for a second film. So there are so many scenes that the mythology was so thick that, yeah, if A24 gave us the opportunity, we wouldn't be able to resist. I feel like we'd jump at it. And then Michael adds, we have a lot of original stories that we would want to tell, but Talk to Me stuff is exciting to us too. So the idea of a sequel... we wouldn't be opposed to it. But exactly what I said is like they have original ideas. Honestly, I'm more excited for what they can do, standalone or original.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just gonna stay tuned to them because I feel like after making this movie, I know that they're gonna make good movies.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm rooting for them. I think their story is great. I always like to root for people in this industry, so it's good for them. I also see here that they have plans for a Street Fighter flick. I don't know what that is, but that should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's Talk to Me news, everybody. Something is in the works, a sequel, a prequel, something is out there, but we can't wait. But since we're on the whole supernatural realm of movies here, we're gonna go ahead and real quick just announce that Insidious, The Red Door, has become the highest grossing 2023 horror film.
Interesting.
It's past Megan. It's past Scream. So, what happened?
Yeah, I think, I did not see that coming. And I think that's solely because of word of mouth and because of the franchise. I think the franchise was just that big.
Yeah, I think it's earned 182.4 million worldwide, and it beats Megan. Megan had 179. So like, and it also beat Scream. Scream had 168 or 148. No, 169. So, I kind of like that. I'm happy for Patrick Wilson and the cast of Insidious. That's crazy because I was very concerned that people weren't gonna understand what kind of film it was. That you really had to
100%.
prepare yourself for it, and it was the reason why it was slow and all that jazz. So that number to me, indicates that A, people understood the movie, or B, people understand that Patrick Wilson is involved. They just want to see another Insidious scary movie. Regardless, I like to see horror doing well, so they're doing well.
And
Good for them.
We're just happy for Patrick Wilson, right? You mentioned how he came out in your movie theater and he was very passionate and he put a lot of work into this project and he directed the movie too. So I mean,
yeah, I'm happy for him. I hope he continues this journey of directing films and kind of being involved in that aspect. I'm happy. I'm happy to see stuff like that. I love when things are like, you can't predict things like this. It's pretty good. Moving on. Since I mentioned that it beat Megan and Scream, I'm gonna go ahead and let you, Tommy, share some news with us if you want to share it with us.
Yeah, I'm more excited, and I think you're a little bit more skeptical about this one.
Yeah.
Scream 7. Happy Death Day filmmaker Christopher Landon officially on board to direct. So we originally had rumors that Radio Silence was not going to be able to direct, and there were whispers that it would be Christopher Landon, but now we officially got confirmation. He is, in fact, directing Scream 7.
Yeah. Big news in the Scream franchise here. So Radio Silence is out from directing. They apparently are still going to executive produce the new Scream 7 film. But like you mentioned, Christopher Landon is going to be taking over. He did Happy Death Day. He did other projects as well. The reason why I'm skeptical, I'm happy because a lot of people seem to have praise for him, and they say that not only is he a great director, but he's also a great writer. So that definitely does help out.
He wrote Paranormal Activity 3, which I really liked.
That's true. That's true. He did write
4,
Paranormal.
and 7, I think.
So I'm definitely happy about that. It does seem like it's in good hands, and I'm interested and I'm happy. So Radio Silence couldn't be a part of it because they said it was a scheduling concern. The reason why I'm skeptical about this is because Radio Silence did well with Scream 5 and Scream 6. Numbers show it. Paramount has obviously moved forward with the franchise. Their motives kind of trash, to be honest with you. It's not the best motives they could have figured out. They recycled a couple of things. But my thing is, if you make Scream 5 and Scream 6, your movie, you have to have some type of, what you call it, road
idea
for Scream 7, idea for Scream 7. So when you're handing it off to Christopher, Landon here, does he change it? Does he do his own thing? Is there going to be a conflict for the cast members? That's my only concern. I am happy for it, but
I think it's going to be a question of who's writing it, though, and I don't think we have confirmation on that just yet. If he's just solely directing, then it shouldn't make a big difference because he's working on their material.
But he's going to be involved with some of the writing. He has to be.
I know,
he has to have an idea.
But even if he does some of the writing, as long as he's working with them, I think it would be for the better. Yeah. And like you mentioned, there were things that we didn't like about Scream 6 and Scream 5. That, like you mentioned, the motives and stuff like that, maybe this would be something that could address that. The only thing that we know for sure, or at least as of now, is that we know Radio Silence is executive producing, which is good, and we know that he's directing. But there's still a lot that we don't really have confirmation on. We don't even know who's coming back, right?
Right.
So I think Melissa Barrera and Mason Gooding are expected to return.
Yeah.
And
Jenna
Ortega is still up in the air because of her scheduling. Well,
the strike obviously is pushing things because Scream would have been probably out by now. Not by now, but you know what I mean.
They would have had a date to start filming.
They would have had a date, something like stuff like that. Like I mentioned before, like in our previous episodes, where they asked Neve Campbell, but she kind of like brushed it off and said, "Let's worry about the strike first." So like this strike obviously is, pushing a lot of productions, back. So maybe if they do that, maybe Jenna Ortega can be available. I don't know. I still say kill her in the opening scene, but that's just me. But Yeah, Scream 7, new director, and it's also confirmed that we're having a Scream 7. You know, I know we were kind of wondering when and how and stuff like that, but I knew it was inevitable, so that's
I
that,
don't
you
know.
know.
I kind of want. I want it to be something different again this time around. I don't want it to be related. My biggest fear was
I
Scream
want a
6.
good motive and a
Yeah,
dark Scream. I want the
my,
Scream 6 was dark. I liked it.
but my biggest fear with Scream 6 was that it was going to be tied to Scream 5, and of course because of the whole casting, the fact that Sydney wasn't in it, I think that's what influenced it a lot. And maybe now if Sydney's planning to come back, then maybe there's another layer there. But I think, yeah, I think for me, I just don't want to see the whole like. I don't want anything related to Scream 6 or Scream 5 to be the motive.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
don't give me
Yeah.
recent stuff as motives. Like at this
I
point, like it might as well not even be Scream if the motive is gonna be like, I'm his great grandfather's cousin's sister's brother, and you killed my whatever. And like,
yeah,
nah,
but
come on.
you were absolutely right, and that's exactly how I feel. So hopefully they have an opportunity here to kind of rectify that. But also, how dope would it be? Is how I think of it. How dope would it be if Scream 7, at the end, killer reveal is somebody that we've seen in previous films. We've seen things in other films that we never really, stuck to or thought anything of it. And it's like a whole thing like that we just completely unpredictable and like it's crazy. I want something like that.
It's gonna be too difficult to do. I feel like that would have had to have already been set in place. And I think there is one opportunity with like the person who killed Dewey, because we still don't believe that it was this chick. It was Amber that killed Dewey. I still don't believe that was fucking Amber that killed Dewey.
I don't believe it either, but because Radio Silence said that girl Quinn, when she was chasing Gail, that it was in fact her chasing Gail around the apartment because like she lifted like her boyfriend like he was nothing. They said that you got to stop believing like it's like they said that you can't think it's like realistic that way. Like they said that like it can be Quinn, it can be anybody, but like anyone behind a ghost face, don't worry about their look, their appearance, how strong they are. Because otherwise, it's too easy to tell.
All right. Can I say something?
Right.
Wes Craven would never.
I know.
Craven
Wes
would fucking
Craven.
never.
By the way, it was his birthday last week. Rest in peace. Happy birthday, Wes Craven. I think it was the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. But I know, and not only that, he also paid a lot of attention to Ghostface throughout the scene, so we can correctly, but it was still difficult guess who Ghostface was. Like if Ghostface was here at the time, how did he go from A to B? Who was in that? Like who was doing everything? I don't know, but it wasn't too bad. But like this stuff, like with like nothing against females, but females lifting off dude who's like 250 pounds of muscle. Like give me a break, bro. Give me a break.
Yeah. But I don't know.
That's Scream 7 news, man. I'm happy. I'm excited. It's a little skeptical. I guess we have to wait and see what information is coming out, but. Yeah.
Scream 7 coming
Scream
soon.
7.
Maybe
Scream
not
7.
next year. Maybe the year after. I would guess 2025, but we'll find out.
No, please, 2024. Just get it over with.
Nah. It hasn't even started filming, so doubt it.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else for us?
I have nothing else. right now.
Okay, I'll have one last thing. Just a quick one.
Do it.
Dead by Daylight. I know you've played it before.
Yes, let's go. Dead by
Right?
Daylight.
Yes. They came out with an Alien add-on, or it's coming out August 29th. And they're bringing the alien or the xenomorph and Ripley, and I think a new map as well. Cool.
Nice. I like
can't
that.
believe how far this game has gone, bro.
I
remember playing it when they couldn't even get these licenses, and the killers were like loosely based on real killers, but they couldn't really use their names. And now they've gotten to the point where they can just use the straight up names. Like this is a xenomorph from the movie Alien, and the character's name is Ripley.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. I love stuff like that. I want them to succeed. The thing is, I want to play this game a little bit more. I haven't played it as much. I have to play a little bit more. But no, I'm going to play it. I'm going to definitely play it. And I like it. I like that they got the licensing. I like that they're doing so well. I like that everybody's like streaming it and TikTok and all this, stuff. That's awesome. I love it that it's getting the attention it deserves. Texas Chainsaw Game is kind of the same concept, not premise, but same concept in terms of style of play like Dead by Daylight. That's coming out, I think, at the end of this month, August. So keep an eye out for that. Also, Mortal Kombat, the beta, if you pre-order the game, you get to play the beta from August 18th or 19th to 21st, I believe. Obviously, not every character, just a select few of characters. So if you have pre-ordered it, you can play the early beta. yeah, that's all I have for games.
Yeah, that's all I have on my end.
Sign us out, Tommy.
All right. Make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms. Follow us on X at That's Horrific, on at Instagram at Well That's Horrific, and on TikTok at Well That's Horrific. Because if you don't,
Well, that's horrific. Peace, everybody. Nice.